Hi everyone, you're with Lucy from Art Shed Angel and Lucy's Craft Cafe, and I'm going to do a page today using alcohol inks. So this is going to be lots and lots of fun. So if you enjoy my video, if you can please make sure that you click that subscribe button and look at the link below, and also you are so welcome to join Live Art Journaling and Self-Development, which is our Facebook group that I do with Jolene Payne. So we do live videos in that group, and you'd probably enjoy that too. So thanks very much. Let's get started. Okay, now what we have here is I have my journal pages open. This is the Dilutions journal, and it has been gessoed. Now I have put 2 coats of gesso on this, and I've allowed this to dry. Now this is one of the pictures from my website you can download. I'm also going to be making a stamp from, not quite this big, but I have downloadable artwork on my website that you may like to have a look at, because it's great for doing little projects. So this is a rather long video, so I've sped it up for you. What I'm doing now is using a charcoal pencil on the back of my photocopied piece of paper so that I can transfer her onto the page. So just make sure that you hold it down firmly, maybe use a bit of tape if you need to. And I'm just going over and just every now and then lift it up to have a little look and make sure that everything is there. Okay, so that's all good. So now I'm going to take my alcohol inks, and this is the extender that I'm using, which is just clear. I'm putting that down and just wetting the page down a bit. Now I've just found out that my page isn't all that dry, so we will get a little bit of bleeding of the gesso into the ink, but that's okay because it'll just lighten a little bit. So you can see here I'm just using the blue, going carefully around the edges, and I've added some purple here, and I'm just doing an up and down action because I'm going to do some texture to it a little bit later. So I've been very careful around the girl to make sure that I have not covered her face at this stage. If you do, just make sure you wipe it away with some clean alcohol. Now I'm doing some stippling of just the clear alcohol, just to make that background kind of look a little bit washy and watery, and it does actually help. So all that is alcohol on the end of my brush. And I'm now filling that space with her hat with a lovely pink colour and some purple. And I'm just filling it all in, doing sections not close together because that way you're not going to have bleeding from one into the other. So every time something's dry, then go closer. And I'm putting some lovely metallic brass in here as well, just swirling it around. So each section I'm going to do individually. I'm putting her dress in a purple colour, but not painting right into the corner. I really want to have an effect. And you can see here, just using the Q-tip with some alcohol on it, you can get like almost a pearl effect around her neck. Now with her face, I have mixed a brown with a light, with the pink that I used in her hat. Now make sure that you put enough alcohol in this because you really need to make sure it's very, very light. And if you have any issues with it being too dark in sections, you can grab a paper towel and just dab it up, or get your brush with some alcohol and lift it back up again. It's really important that you don't do it too dark to start off with. So it's layer upon layer of, you can see I'm just building the colour up, and it's so important just to build that colour up and make it darker as you go. So now I'm doing her hair, and I'm just using the brown here. I've done that a little bit too dark. You can see how easily the paper towel actually pulls it back up again. So make sure you have paper towel there when you're working. I'm really loving how the alcohol inks do work on this gessoed surface. So it's really, really nice, and it has not bled through to the next page. So now I'm just going to fill in that background behind her hat. Now I didn't do that before the hat because they could have bled into each other, and I didn't want that at that stage. And now I'm also darkening around her face. Now I'm using the same purple as I used on her dress, but if you can see here that I'm just blending it. Now I've let the face, because it's so thin, dry a little bit before I've done this. But you can see now her face is coming forward because we're darkening the background. It's always good with portraits to do this, to actually have your background in as well, because you never really know how dark your skin colour is until you get a background. So here I'm putting detail in, and this is easy and it doesn't bleed because my areas are drying so fast. As you can see, it's sped up here. Now I am using here a permanent pen, and I'm just putting her detail in, and it's just a black permanent pen. Putting her lips in, and I'm using a lovely red for that. And her eyes in the blue. Now I just went outside her eye a little bit and I just wiped it up with the ink. So it's really important that you do that. And here I'm just putting some little bits of colour because I had that there, and adding some more shading. So it does allow itself to add. It's quite a lovely medium to work with. Now what I'm using is a stencil, and I've got my little brush thing here, the foam pad, and I'm taking away colour. So rather than adding it, I'm actually taking away the colour and just giving a bit of texture to the background. And I've decided I really want to make her look out of a window. So I've just drawn in the window, and I've decided I was going to paint the window brown, but then I decided I would actually take some ink away. And so again, you can take the ink away. That's so beautiful about these inks, because I've done it on a gessoed background. And now what I'm going to do is I'm really putting some wet ink up the top in the blue. It's a different blue to the original blue I used, and I'm letting it run down because I want it to look like it's running down the window. So I'm just doing that, filling in a little bit more, making her seem a bit more forward. Now I think that I want it to be a bit of a rain scene, so in that background there I've done a little bit of a ground. And now I'm drying it off because I want to put detail in it, but I don't want it all to bleed. A little bit more detail with that pen. It's so much easier to do detail when your ink is dry. So I'm drawing in my window very roughly. This is really gesture drawing, so please don't make it, don't get the ruler out. And I'm just doing a gesture drawing here of a man standing in the rain, because I feel like she might be looking out the window waiting for him to come home from work. And with the alcohol, I've actually just bled that a little bit as well. And here I'm using my Signo pen, and I'm just doing some little highlights and highlights on the side of those droplets that are coming down so that they look like they're shining on the window. And this here is, I don't actually have a black, but I'm putting some dark, I suppose, buildings in the background because he's coming home from work. Drying it off again. Little bit more highlights and some windows in that scene. So keep darkening the background till you're happy with it. It's quite easy. And here I'm actually adding some yellow, which was a really bad choice. I didn't really like the yellow that I added here, so I got my brush and I dulled it down with a bit of the blue, because I did want it kind of to look like wallpaper on the wall outside the window, or on the inside of the window, sorry, but I didn't really like it once I've done it. So now I've got some Copic markers, and I'm doing some extra detail with the Copic markers. So Copic markers are also alcohol based, so you can use the marker and blend it with your alcohol. And you can see there I end up with a nice smudged looking line. And I'm just adding that little bit of detail here and there. So this is what finishes a project, when you add those little touches. And also adding some brighter areas to that hat. And I think think we need a little person. So she's waiting for her husband and her child, I decided as I was doing this. It's funny how as you do an artwork, you start to get a little story happening. And I've put highlights there with the Signo pen, and I've done some darker areas in her hair with the Copic marker. Now I have a jelly print sticker paper that I've done there, and I'm writing some words, and this is a really bit of a motto for me at the moment, that just waiting is okay, because sometimes you're always in such a rush. So she's just standing there waiting. So I'm just cutting this out, and it is on sticker paper. I do like to do jelly prints on sticker paper, so I can do that. I'm edging it in a pink, and I can stick that straight on the page. So now I'm doing something here that you may or may not like, but I really wanted to marry the whole picture together. So I'm just doing some swirled kind of backgrounds in the same pink that I have in her hair or in her hat. And I just kind of did this because I wanted to have that alcohol ink look and a little bit more of that, I don't know, the essence of alcohol ink in here. So I just, put that in, and I really like it. Let me know whether you think you liked it too. So please subscribe to my page and join Art Journaling and Self-Development if you like what I've done. I really, really would love you to like my page and also share it with others. Thank you so much. You're with Lucy.